They focus on educating the nation. I leave that for you people, you know. And I leave that for the nation to ask that question and to remember how long I am around with the newspaper and how long I have started this radio station. It has been more than a beautiful thing, you know, in my life throughout the years, to have been able to come into the homes of so many people who could have afforded the newspaper and who can still afford it today. You know, it's sad that, you know, when I started out this newspaper, Josh, it became one of the leading newspaper with the weekly. It used to be 40,000+. No other newspaper ever meet 40,000+. And that has ventured into twice weekly, thrice weekly, and then the daily. And I have still maintained the leadership by far in Guyana today with the newspaper and its circulation. It's not something to boast about, but I always believe, you know, if you have a product, you give people what they want rather than what you think they need. And that has been my mantra from day one. I have bring that over to the radio today, you know, and I've been giving them what they want. And I could clearly say that this radio program, it has been the best in the country. I visited Berbice yesterday and I got a shock of my life, which I'm going to talk about later down in my program tonight. So with that, guys, I know you guys are saying quietly in your mind, congratulations, Lall, you did a great job. Thank you. Let me say thank you, although I'm not hearing it. Thank you. I know. I could feel some of you. And with that said, let me say namaste to all you beautiful people. Before I say anything tonight, I want you guys to listen keenly and carefully to a message from a South African Member of Parliament, Julius Malema, a man who's standing up and fighting for the interests and survival of the entire South Africa, Josh. 2 weeks ago, he was the driving force behind bringing the whole country to a total shutdown. People from other countries in Africa saw what he was doing, and it gave them the courage and inspiration to go out in the streets protesting for their rights and shut down some of those countries too, sending clear messages to their leaders: down with corruption and bad leadership. This morning, on my way to work, I listened to a message which I believe he was talking not only to the people of the African continent, but to every citizen in this region, especially Guyana. Could you play that tape so that they can listen to it?
Yes. Poly industries is multinational companies. We cannot even own and protect our own agricultural sector with our fertile land in Africa, because Europe and the entire developed countries use Africa and South Africa as a dumping site. Every lower grade food get to be dumped in our countries, undermining our own agriculture. When we say those things, we are called communist, we are called anarchist, we are called radicals, because we must continue to bow before a white supremacist. We're refusing that. We're refusing to bow before imperialism and colonialism. We want a total control of our own country and our own land. We in South Africa, black and white, We coexist as people. When we fight colonialism, we do not fight white people. We come from a bad history of apartheid, where white people have exploited us for far too long. Yet, we have extended a hand of friendship. There are many others who are still refusing and still wanting to act as if we live in the apartheid era. Those do not deserve to live amongst those who want a united South Africa, black and white. It is of their own problem. We are not going to be an international home of racists. We're not going to be an international capital city of racism. We refuse that black people must still bow before white people. And that does not mean you must go away. We are going to reverse the legacy of apartheid through robust engagement and not through pretentious arrangement. We are still hating. We have seen people dying before us. We have seen many children killed by apartheid regime. Yet we came out and said we remain brothers. But there are those who are refusing to show remorse and wanting to perpetuate that which happened during apartheid times. We owe no one no apology when we say South Africa is no home of racists. And racism must be fought everywhere else, including here in Oxford. It must be fought everywhere else in New York, where black people get to be shot at by police at will without serious action. We need a world that recognizes human beings and not color. It starts with me. It starts with me, particularly if you are white. You need to stand up and say, not in my name. We are a new generation. We need to usher in a non-racial international society. Racism has got no place where democracy, prosperity has to take place. South Africa, we want to lead by example. In the same way we led by example and accepted that the colonizer and the colonized must share territory. Even beyond the defeat of the colonizers, we did not seek to pay revenge. We continued to share territory with those who colonized us, because we believe strongly that there is a place for everyone in South Africa. But let us transform the economy to benefit all. We cannot protect white privilege at the expense of the majority African people in South Africa and the whole entire African continent. We are hated for saying that. We are hated for demanding that we must all be treated as equals. It's not going to change that. We will rather die for a dream that is going to be realized by many generations after us. Even if we don't realize it ourselves, we've made a commitment to lay a firm foundation for generations to come.
Hi, Uncle and Auntie. I don't know how much of you grasp exactly what Julius Malema said there. Because of his accent, I understand every word and very clear what he said there. I want to take a few minutes to break down and explain what he said there in those few minutes of his speech. He said we can't protect our own agricultural land to produce because they're putting limits on how much you can export so that you can buy their packaged products like rice, sugar, apples, grapes, and so on, so that their country and their people can prosper. And when we dare open our mouths and say a word against this, then we are threatening their business interests. This is their new way of colonizing our minds and forcing us to bow before them, regardless of how they exploit us. The man said, we come from an apartheid system where the whites have exploited them for far too long. Yet we have extended our hands of friendship to them. But many of them still behave as if South Africa is under an apartheid era. They are showing their racism all over. Let me say this as clear as I can. My hand, and I am sure every Guyanese hands, is extended to every foreign investors in this land. We are not anti-investors. We are for what benefits them and what benefits us. It must be a two-way street and not this one-sided affair that is going on in this land. 2% royalty will never be accepted with zero taxes. And this is only the start. To God Almighty, how can this ever be accepted by any human being? They didn't even do that in Africa, uncle, what they're doing here. But they're doing that, yes, in our country, and telling us that we are threatening their business interests. And these clowns we have for leaders are silent. The opposition silent. And the government saying that they are going to take this threat very serious. Serious to who? And serious to what? Mr. Jagdeo and President Ali? People who are fighting for their rightful share? Oh yeah? People who are fighting for a little more rice in their plate. People who are fighting to send their children to school without lunch. Oh yeah? Yeah? That can never be here as long as God Almighty give me breath in this mouth, nose, and a mind. Yes, and a mind that has been blessed. Never it could happen. The man said, uncle, he will not allow South Africa to become a racist republic. I think he was talking about Guyana. Yes. Our resources in this land, what is being done with it is beyond racist, beyond criminal, beyond evil. It is barbaric. This is slaughtering. There is no category for what is happening in this country today. The biggest gold companies are in this country. They sneak in this land silently, fetching out our gold by the tons, and those contracts are being hidden from us. Isn't this racist? And anti-investors? We are threatening anybody business interest here, uncle? Huh? For talking these things? Wait, man. Me and my family, my grandchildren, own these resources. I am bringing the Guyanese people yet. We own every drop of this oil, every drop of gold, every tree that sits across this land. And me and my family must know what's going on with it. Every Guyanese must know what's happening with it. Well, I think I am worse than that man, Julius Malema. I have to know, and every Guyanese has to know, and get what is rightfully theirs. How come this, what is going on in these sectors, do not represent major threats to the interests of me, my family, and that of the Guyanese people, Madam Ambassador, and High Commissioners to this country? How come? How come we are not getting a statement from any one of you about things like this? Like Julius Malema. Why should we keep on bowing to the white man's world all the days of our lives for loans to sustain ourselves, to feed our children when we are so rich in resources? Our grandparents were forced to bow down during slavery and indentureship, fought and won freedom so that we don't have to bow down before anybody. But today, yes, today, look what is happening. We are on our knees and two hands begging to survive all over again. All because of these leaders that you stain on your fingers for. The pittance is being thrown at us by these foreign investors, and we are told to be happy. Don't complain. How can this ever be? They are making money, real money, and we are living in poverty with a few penny. A penny here and a penny there. Let me say this. If I was an ambassador or a national leader, I would be ashamed. I would bag my face to say foreign interests are being threatened in a land where endless wholesale robbery is going on and greater enslavement staring us in our faces. And that is being taken seriously, guys, by our leaders. Could you believe this thing? I could be serious in this land. I am told the UK, Canada and the EU are going to join the American embassy, putting out a statement similar to the one that came out last week, in which their business interests is being threatened too. I am waiting to see it. You see how they're ganging up on our country with our wealth? All of them holding one head because they want a piece of Iri's head. They want to take over your head. I don't recall saying namaste, but let me say it again. Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. Or hallelujah. Since the Holy Week began yesterday, Palm Sunday. Amen. You're sure that South African MP Malema wasn't talking about Guyana when he said they're still hurting after what the Africans went through during the apartheid era, and is still willing to hug the whites and treat them like brothers, although the white people took over most of South Africa's land and treasures. Have we not been doing the same thing here? Hugging every foreigner treating them like brothers and sisters, even though they are wounding us day after day with what they are doing in this land and now in our ocean. You tell me, guys. Isn't it time this thing come to a halt? And they must treat us like brothers and sisters by giving us what is rightfully ours? Huh? I love Julius Malema when he said, we need a world that recognizes human beings and not a world that recognizes color. You really believe, Uncle and Auntie, if Guyana was a white man country, the things they're doing to us, the black, brown, and purple people with our resources, would ever happen? Ever cross these foreigners' minds? You think they would ever do that? Name me one country on earth with white people that has oil, gold, or timber, that they can do what they are doing presently in this country with our gold, oil, and timber. I can list a number of countries, the non-white countries, I should say not the non-white countries, the white countries, getting 25, 30, and looking for 50% royalties now. Yes, and some of them looking for more than that. And ExxonMobil throwing 2% and said, dogs, take that and don't bark. If you bark, we're going to bite off your head or make you bite off your own tongue. Not Glenn Lall. Not Glenn Lall. I was gifted to bark from the man above, and only he can muzzle me. No statement can muzzle me, whether it come from A, B, C to Z countries. I know what I was placed here on earth for, and my work has just begun. You know, I went to Borbies yesterday, and I will give you a little rundown of what took place in a moment. But let's continue with Brother Julius Malema, the same speech you heard just now. He said, we are a new generation. We have entered into a new era, Uncle. A new way of thinking. And we need to usher in a non-racial international society. He said racism got no place where democracy and prosperity is concerned. He said although they took advantage and raped the country, he still wants to hug them and greet them with open arms so that they all can share the prosperity of South Africa together. You hear that, bro? Although they went out to do all that, the man want to hug them to share the prosperity of South Africa, Josh, with all. Let me repeat. Glenn or no Guyanese wants to fight any foreign business interests here. We just want to be treated fairly, to enjoy the prosperity of our resources. What is wrong with that, Josh? Prosperity ambassador and high commissioners, as you all goes hand in hand with democracy. You can't be such a rich nation and have half the population going to bed, going to work, going to school hungry. How can this ever be fair to the owners of these resources, guys? You should have been ashamed, like Malema said, to put out such a statement to this nation in your name, Madam Ambassador. Come on, guys. All we're asking for is justice from our own resources. You're ready to stand up. You're ready to put out statement fighting for your prosperity with my wealth while leaving nothing for me? How can this be right? How can this be acceptable to anyone? Anyone being exploited like this? Where is the decency? Where is the righteousness? Where is the godliness in all of you doing this to the Guyanese people? And still barefaced enough to put out statements of threats to ID's business interests. Gosh. I need a sip of tea. Miss Mortley is a wicked girl. She didn't make me a cup of tea yet. I'm going to drink a little water in the meantime. Josh, I got to drink a little water. Miss Mortley is not a nice person. Until she make a cup of tea for me. Gosh, man, how can this ever be fair? How can this ever be right? Julius Malema said, even after we defeated the colonizers, the colored people didn't look for revenge. They continued to share territories with them because he believes strongly that there's a place for everyone in South Africa. But let us transform the economy to benefit all South Africans. You hear those words, Uncle? I don't think I can say that. I don't think I have reached that level. That's an extraordinary human being. Yes, that's an extraordinary human being to speak like that. A people who enslave your great-grandparents, whip them, jail them, rape them, brutalize them, kill them, took away everything they have, and still can say to their children, I have nothing against you except love in my heart. And then he went forward, Josh, to beg for a fair share of the resources for both parties. The man gotta have a special heart to say, come, sit at the table. Let's have a conversation on how we can share the wealth. Share the wealth fairly and squarely to both the white South Africans and the black South Africans after all they went through. Now let's look at Guyana, Uncle. Thank you, Miss Mortley. Thank you. Thank you. I forgive you. Thank you. After all they went through, that man is willing to sit at the table to share the wealth of South Africa between the blacks and the whites equally. Now let's look at Guyana, Uncle. It's a totally different situation. We don't have white and black hair like South Africa. We are all black. Every Guyanese is black in the eyes of the white world. Get that in your heads. Some of you who say you have fair skin and got bright eyes, Some of you who think Indians are not black, change that thinking. Once you're not white in this world, you're black. I have had countless experience as an Indian in the white world. And let's leave it there. Guyana is held in the minds and eyes of the white man as being an all-black country and nothing else. They ain't concerned whether you're Indian, African, or Amerindian. We are all black. I can't be clearer than that. Look what is going on here. The foreigners are deciding everything. They are calling the shots. They are dictating to our leaders what they want and what the nation should have. My gosh. Oh, bro. Joshua,
Yes, sir.
anyone read at the bargaining table? No. And even the decisions they make in the contracts we can't see. When you ask the leaders simple, straightforward questions, they tell you how you asking about the feather from the foot and the feather from the head of the plucked chicken. Simply telling us there, shut up and take what you get, because the white man says so. And don't ever ask those questions again. That's what Jack Day was actually telling me when I asking him questions on the oil. Now they're putting their own people to shout down at journalists. While the reporter asking President Ali at Lenore about our oil. Oh boy. This is where we are today. You are not at the bargaining table, the negotiating table, and the people who are you stealing your fingers for is shouting down at you for your own interests. I wonder if the ambassador going to put out a statement to this effect. Let's move on. Let's get back. Get back to Julius Malema. Could you play the last piece for me?
Yes.
I'll tell the last piece, how he ended.
We believe strongly that there is a place for everyone in South Africa. But let us transform the economy to benefit all. We cannot protect white privilege at the expense of the majority African people in South Africa and the whole entire African continent. We are hated for saying that. We are hated for demanding that we must all be treated as equals. It's not going to change that. We will rather die for a dream that is going to be realized by many generations after us. Even if we don't realize it ourselves, we've made a commitment to lay a firm foundation for generations to come.
I really love the piece. But before that, the man said we cannot protect the interests of the white community at the expense of the majority. Isn't it the opposite that is happening in Guyana, uncle? We're our leaders, both government and the opposition, doing everything to protect the interests of the foreigners while betraying, giving away, selling out the interests of all Guyanese. You tell me. Why President Ali and Jagdeo doesn't want you to question them on the contracts and the oil? And when we talk, we are hated for saying it. We are hated for demanding that all of us must be treated as equals. And we are not going to change that. The man said, isn't the same thing happening here, brother? Mention that word renegotiation. Oh, bro. Oh. Renegotiation. You can feel, you can smell, You can even taste the hate coming from our own people. Vice President Jagdev said, I have never promised renegotiation. President Ali said, I have never promised renegotiation too. Although both of them is on record many times saying, we holding the wrong end of the stick. What a terrible deal we living with. They sell out with patrimony and we will change it. Both of them, President Ali and Vice President Jagdeo, said those words. Like I said, I love how Malema ended it. The man said it has to change. He said we would rather die for a dream that is going to be realized by many generations after us. Even if we don't realize it ourselves, we have made a commitment to lay a firm foundation for generations to come. Uncle, like Julius Malema, Glenn Lall rather die laying a firm foundation for this and other generations to come. My work, your work, the work of all of us has now begun. There should be no fear, but a vision of prosperity must be within our souls for what is rightfully ours. Remember, it is written somewhere. Our Creator has not given us a spirit of fear, but one of love, and that of a sound mind. Let us use those God-given gifts to get the best from all our business interest for our prosperity, Uncle. Please. Is that too much to ask for, Madam Ambassadors and High Commissioners? I don't think so. And now, I want to take you to where I went yesterday. Number 57 Village Quarantine, Berbice. Went to a beautiful home of a beautiful family, the Subnats family. People who I have never met in my life or have spoken to in my life before yesterday. Invited me for a meeting with some nearby residents who love to listen to my programs. Oh boy. The food was great. The love, the friendship, the warmness I felt going there yesterday, I have never felt before. Traveling across this country, especially from strangers. I don't know what other word I can use better than to say thank you. Thank you to the family and to everyone who listened so attentively at that forum yesterday. Thank you, guys. I spoke for about an hour and a half, which I want to share some of the things with you guys I touched on yesterday. One of the many things I said to them, Uncle, was Glenn Lall is not forming any political party. I was only there to educate them as to how rich they all are. And if they don't know how rich they are, they would not know what they are missing out on or what they deserve. I told them my job is to enlighten all of you so that you can hold the leaders you stain your fingers for accountable as to the decisions they make with your wealth and your future. I told them no one should be running to the political parties or to the presidential rallies and have to beg for a house lot. I said if the leaders can only get from the foreigners their rightful share, yes, our rightful share, they would not only get a house lot free, but they will get mansions with the latest model of vehicles parked in the driveways. Yes. They will get free, beautiful roads, highways that they can live. Yes. Live the lives of Maharaja and Maharani, kings and queens, along with fat bank accounts. Yes, that's what I told them. Only if they know the value and the leaders get our rightful share, all those things can happen. I told them, one policeman said to me, President Ali give them $5,000 increase on their salary and promised to give them a house lots. Yes, give them house lots. The policeman said, Glenn, as it is now, the salary I am taking home can't even pay the rent, send my children to school, or give my family a decent meal when the day come. How on earth? Where can I, or where will I find $600,000 or $1 million to pay for a house lot alone? Then pay a loan at the bank to build the house. My gosh, I felt so sad. I felt so sorry. Not only for that policeman, but for all the public servants in this country. Look what's happening in this land. The poor fella, salary, uncle, can't feed him and his family and send his children to school. 5,000 increase. The man want to know if he go to the bank and take a loan, how is he going to fix that? I also told the audience yesterday how one of my ex-employee, 2 young daughters, came to see me Saturday. One 17 and one 13. The 17-year-old is not going to school. She come looking for a job. And the 13-year-old didn't go to school for 2 weeks. Their mother is a cleaner at one of the schools on the East Bank of Demerara. And whenever she gets money, whenever she gets pay, yes, then the children go to school until the money is finished. She told me $400 to go to school, to go and come. And she, Mommy, this gives you $500. So the $100, whatever it can give her to eat, she makes do with it. And depend many days on her friends to share their lunch with her if they bring or if they have. This is the dilemma. This is the horror. Thousands of our black, brown and purple children live through when the day comes, presently in this country. When I shared that story at a meeting yesterday, I saw some of the attendees shaking their heads. One of them said, it's happening here in Berbice too. Yes. In an oil-rich country that is unmatched, if we are to use the population to gauge the wealth in the world. We are the richest, uncle. We are the richest per person. And this is what goes on in this land. I said to them, Uncle and Auntie, Glenn Lall and every Guyanese, yes, Glenn Lall and every Guyanese, I am certain, will forgive all the politicians for whatever wrong they would have done, whatever corrupt transactions they would have concocted, whatever money they take, if they take. Yes. Oil block or no oil block, we will forgive all of you to start doing the right things from now on. I said, even if the oil companies holding our leaders at ransom with the secrets of taking whatever they take, Uncle, we are willing to go past that. We will not hold that against them. Just let's start all over again from today. Any Guyanese have a problem with that? I don't think so. I don't think so. I told them, call the US, the EU, the Chinese, the Canadians, the British, the Russian, and all the rest, and tell the ambassadors and the high commissioners to look out for we business interests, and not only their business interests, because the resources, every piece of our wealth in this country belong to every Guyanese, not them. I told the audience, stop asking your leaders about the fishing industry. It is three-quarter dead. And in a few more mornings, it will be completely buried in all the cemeteries across this country. The oil operations is what destroyed that sector. So please ask the ambassadors and high commissioners to compensate the fishermen and their families and all Guyanese who will now be forced to buy imported fish to eat. Where will we get the money from if we are not compensated properly from the oil? Isn't that part of our business interests, Ambassador? How can your business interests destroy an industry that brings money and providing food for our people and not being fully compensated? Which part of the world you guys can go and do business like this and expect a nation to remain silent? Yes. Which part, Ambassador? Who will compensate the Guyanese people for that, Madam Ambassador and High Commissioners? The 2% with zero taxes going to take care of that. Wow. Wow. This fishing industry used to bring in 70 to 100 million US a year and still feed all Guyana with seafood products. Thank you, guys. Thank you, and let's move on. Coming back from Borbis, we stopped at Bath Settlement, and a gentleman walked out from the supermarket and said to me, God bless you, sir. I am so happy I meet you. Then bring a couple pounds of fertilizer and give me. Oh gosh. Oh. Guys, stop asking the leaders for a couple pounds of fertilizer, brother. That is not going to solve the problem growing crops now. The flaring from the oil operations out there, where just 2 Liza is sending a heat wave into our farmlands, into our cane and rice fields, that no amount of fertilizer will be able to help you with those crops. You know what you need, guys? Compensation. If you can't grow to feed yourselves, then you must be fully compensated. You must be fully reimbursed for your losses. What you say to that, Madam Ambassador and High Commissioners? In 2022, Guyana bring in 200 million US from rice. When that is destroyed, what becomes of Guyana and the rice farmers with their families and that of the Guyanese families? Yes. What happened to us when we will have to import rice? We are already importing to meet the quota. We are ready. Why? Why? When we used to be the supplier to the region and even Venezuela with rice. Wake up not only your leaders, guys, but also call on the ambassadors and the high commissioners to look out for your business interests too. Yes. With this growing disease that will get worse in the coming years. Like how the fishing industry and the agriculture sector is feeling the squeeze with the heat presently and the oil operation very soon. When the flaring begins in Liza 3 and 4 and with 5 if Jagdev approve it, then y'all start make preparation to grow your rice and your kitchen garden inside of your bedroom. Because the heat will be coming from those, that will be coming from those Lizas. Will even kill the grass that the cows, the animals eat to live. What happened to our business interest there? Oh, the 2% royalty with no taxes will fix those problems. I am just asking. I love to ask. Who will compensate the farmers and their families with the bank loans for the combines and tractors they bought? Along with the fishing boats and the engines. Oh, shouldn't the Guyanese people be fully compensated, Madam Ambassador? Rice, just like fish. I told you brought in 200 million last year. When this industry drops dead, like the fishing industry, what becomes of us? Oh, I'm asking again. We're in trouble, guys. We're in great danger, guys. Also, I want every Guyanese to stop asking the leaders to patch road here and fix one there. Ask the ambassadors and the high commissioners, where are we going to get the money from to fix back the damaged infrastructure and the roads that the oil companies are destroying in this country day in, day out? Ask them. Tell them our government is spending billions every 2 months to import bitumen to correct the damages done by the oil companies. Where are we going to get the millions of US from, Madam Ambassadors and High Commissioners? Where? Sunday, Ashni Singh reported we get 377 million oil money for the first quarter of 2023. Multiply that by 4 and you get just over 1 billion US. Them destroying our infrastructure and the agriculture sector, the fishing industry to the tune of 2 and 3 billion US and throwing just over $1 billion US at us. This is the way you run a country. Yes. And then ambassador putting out statements saying that their business interests is being threatened. We whole country and our future already facing threats of total destruction for our present and the future generations. And their business interest is threatened, not ours. Fetching out our resources in the US billions and giving us a small change. How you like that, uncle and auntie? And when we talk this talk, we are deemed enemies. Not only by the foreigners, but by our own leaders in both camps. Oh boy. Oh my. Your fishing industry gone. Now your agriculture going on the deathbed. Your infrastructure damaging. You're spending, they're putting you in 2-3 billion US dollar destruction. And you're barely getting 1 point something when the year come. And you need to help me, Papa. I need help. I told the Barbarians, how can you allow your neighbor chickens to come over into your yard and eat belly full your chicken feed, fattening themselves to give the neighbor a good meal? Yes, fat chicken meal. While your chickens are left with nothing to eat and grow. Joshua, somebody got to put a fence. Right? Yes. And the man who losing out got to put a fence. Correct?
Yeah.
Well, Guyana losing out all the chicken feed to ExxonMobil because Jagdeo not putting a fence to protect we chicken. We pockets. That in a nutshell is ring fencing, uncle. Put a fence so that ExxonMobil cannot spend in other yard and take it out from the yard that is bearing to shorten we profits. Every yard must take care of their own expenses so that you can get your rightful profits. Yes. Every chicken must eat in their own yard. You must put a fence to block it. Because if you allow the neighbor chicken to come over without you feed, is you pocket feeling the heat. Yes. The arrangement we got right now is everybody chicken coming in we yard, eating out we chicken feed, and we chicken starving. I told them about Jagdeo going to allow another yard chicken, the 5th yard chicken, to come in and feed on our profits. Yes, he's going to approve the 5th project without going to put a fence again. And I told them ring fencing has nothing to do with renegotiation of the contract. So don't let your leaders tell you that you are bound by sanctity of contract. No, sir. No, madam. Ring fencing is to protect each yard. Let's wait and see what President Ali and Jagdev have to say on this. I was so delighted to see the facial expression of the people as I was talking to them. Even the spies, yes, the spies, they sent there, nodding their heads in disbelief that this is happening to them with their own leaders. Thank you too, guys. Thank you for spying. I'm so happy that I was able to even enlighten you people as to what are you supporting. You see what truth can do, Josh? Just now all of them going to run out from my party. Don't change this highway robbery. And I keep on saying, after full protection, uncle, the second most important thing in this oil industry is that fence. Guyana will lose all of its oil. Yes. We will go broke without a fence on those projects and end up worse than Venezuela or the oil countries in Africa and Asia. I better get them to ring fence them project this. I told the audience too to stop clapping their hands and jumping up for joy for a stadium with handouts or borrow money. Demand your fair share and you can have stadium and playground to international standards in every village across this country. Stop complaining about hospitals, doctors, bandages and painkillers or a pressure tablet to help you. Demand your fair share and we will have state-of-the-art medical facilities all across this country, uncle. Yes. With state-of-the-art equipment, better than Europe and North America. Yeah, man. And you will have the best medications in the world. Yes. The best that the world produce, free of cost. If you only demand your fair share from what God Almighty blessed us with. Uncle and Auntie, demand your fair share and we can have the best educational system in this whole world. Demand that your government put a ceiling figure to the interest rate we are paying on those huge loans so that we can get our full share. Yes, we can get our full share to give you all the amenities in life. Ask the ambassadors and the high commissioners. We are both partners in this business. How come you're looking out for your business interest alone and not ours? Yes. Them interests are not ours who own all these resources. Ask them that. Go in front anyway when you see them and ask them that. Stop lining up at their embassies for visa. Heaven is right here in Guyana. You don't have to go to their countries to eat the mango skin of your own mango tree in Guyana, guys. Come on. Come on. You can eat the flesh right here. We leaders proudly announce we get 377 million in 3 months as profit and royalties. 75% come out as cost oil before we get that. Billions of US coming out and we get in millions. Yes. Then get billions and we get in millions. Ring fencing again. Ring ring fencing Guyana. Gosh. Oh, ring fencing. Money they take out there, uncle. Yes. 75% is the ring fencing money they take out. And when you ask Jagdev to see that, he telling you, he will decide whether we see it or not. How you like that? Ask him to see what they're taking out. He will decide whether we see it or not. This will belong to he or he parents. Make he can talk to us that way. Oh, brother. Oh, sister. Oh. Oh. Before I take the first call, I want to share 3 beautiful experiences from my trip yesterday to Berbice with all of you. After the meeting, I went to visit a family friend and ended up going into the wrong village and walking in the wrong yard. Don't laugh. Don't laugh, Joshua. There was this gentleman who looked at me and said, Glenn Lall? I said, yes, sir. He responded, girl, come quick, come quick. Your God come. When his wife came out, she was all light up with smiles. Oh, thank you so much, Glenn. Thank you for coming to our home. The poor lady didn't know that I made a mistake and walking in the wrong yard. She said, you're the only person who will ever get my vote. My God, I nearly dropped down. You know? Man, Josh, if you see the hugs, the auntie running, she said she got to wash her hand first before she can hug me. I believe if we wanted her to cook all the chicken in the freezer, she would have cooked it for us. How delighted she was with my visit to her home. She could not help thanking me for these radio programs that she listens to. Yes, she listened to every single day. She wanted a photograph holding a placard saying change the contract in the newspaper. Her husband says, me too. When I realized I walked in the wrong yard, they then direct me to the village where I have to go to find the right yard. It's 74 village, and I had to go to 69 village. That couple made my trip even more merrier. The love I felt from that couple really touched me, Joshua. Really, really touched me. The second story, coming down on the West Coast, from the West Coast Berbice, we stopped at a supermarket where a man walked out and said, you remember, said the man walked out and said the government give him a couple pound fertilizer? Uncle and auntie, the expression on that man's face when he recognized me and what he said to me was pure love for what I do on this radio program. And the time, uncle, will run out if I have to tell you people what that man really told me last night. You know, then we came down from West Berbice to drop off one of the friends who went with us at Monrepo. Oh boy, there was a few guys there sipping a beer, and when they realized that Glenn Lall was in the vehicle, they shouted at me and made me came out. And I couldn't be more happy I could not be more happy with what those people were telling me. I am so happy that people are listening right across this country. Wow. The reception I received, man, it's unbelievable. Now let me say this. A heartfelt thank you to each and every one of those persons I met during my visit yesterday in Berbice. The respect, Joshua, the love that was shown to me will stay with me as I continue my work of sharing my knowledge with you people. Yes, it will stay with me. A special thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Subnat for opening their home to me. The couple I met in 74 Village, Uncle and Auntie, the man at the supermarket, and the young men at Monripo. Once again, many, many thanks. And I'm looking forward to visiting you guys sometime in the near future. May God bless you guys all.
.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Hey, this is your boy Terry Gadraj, the Guyana Babu, and you are tuned in to Kaieteur Radio 99.